Hello and welcome, my name is Lynx, and we are back to QUINCENTRA from Azure Twilight. And we are back because there is a remaster. That's right. A remaster which was released, almost 3 months ago. But hey, I want to have a look. I wanted to find out if I will get the same ending or if I will follow a different route this time around. And also, and that's probably the biggest part, I want to play it because this time it is voiced! And that's something I look forward to. Technically, wow. Dude, that's in a way crazy. Almost on point of exactly 1 year ago. So I published video February 24th, 25. And right now I'm recording February 23rd, and obviously 26. So that's hilarious. That's hilarious. But somehow I tend to do that. Like with Katawa Shoujo, somehow basically started it on an anniversary. And there were some other multiple games where I somehow pinpointed basically like a year from release or something like that. Funny. Anyway, quick description and we are jumping in. In a distant future where humanity has transcended flesh, Syntia and Nexor have lived through centuries together, until everything falls apart. Now what will Syntia do? Let us begin. The rain fell hard, painting the empty streets with reflections of flickering neon signs. Syntia knelt beside Nexor, her fingers intertwining with the cold, broken remains of his mechanical hand. His titanium plating was wrecked, revealing severed optical cables underneath. Sparks flickered weakly between the torn wiring, fading in and out. Sparks... Oh, okay. I see. Akin to a dying pulse. You are putting this game. Like that continuation of the phrase appears after what was already on the screen.
Syntia?
It's voiced, everyone!
I can't feel my left arm anymore. Damn it.
His voice trembled, distortion breaking through in uneven waves. The signals in Nexor's core flickered, his system unraveling one piece at a time.
Yeah, I figured so.
Her voice was steady, but her emotion system flagged an error. Instability detected.
Guess I don't have to keep pretending then.
He tried to laugh, but it came out wrong. It sounds like a hollow, uneven sound between a breath and a glitch. The rain dripped from her synthetic cheek, tracing a slow path downward. There... You caught me with that again. It almost looked like... tears. No, it wasn't the same.
This isn't how it was supposed to end.
Nexor inhaled. An old reflex, an unnecessary motion, but he still did it. Maybe it was comforting, or habit.
Yeah, well, nothing ever ends the way it's supposed to.
True. In a way, true. Above them, a holographic billboard flickered, its message crawling across the screen. It was a promise they had once believed in. Upload your consciousness, transcend humanity, live forever with QUINCENTRA. Here is a question. Would you do that? I think I wouldn't. I mean, do you really want to live forever in this world that is clearly getting worse and worse? There was a time when those words had meant hope.
Forever's a long time, huh?
Back then, we thought eternity was real.
Maybe it still is. For you.
Maybe like an eternity as a vampire, sure. But as a... you know, upload consciousness as and so on, I kinda don't like that idea. Syntia tightened her grip around his hand. The cold metal was losing its charge, slipping further from her grip.
You're still saying things like that?
Nexor's lips barely curled into a smile. His optics were dimming, colors bleeding into static.
I mean, you're fine. You can last 5 more centuries, I bet.
He tried to squeeze her fingers back, but his movements were merely ghosts of what they used to be.
You know it's meaningless without you, Nexor.
Shit. And what am I supposed to do then?
I don't know.
Well, Synthia, at least can I take a look at your face one last time?
She lifted her gaze slowly, as if memorizing every last detail. Nexor tried to move his remaining arm, but the joints locked, straining against failing circuits. Syntia caught it before it fell with the trembling hands. His frame felt lighter than it should have.
We really thought we'd never die, didn't we?
Well... His voice flickered. The soft glow on his body pulsed unevenly as it faded away.
I was so damn stupid. Maybe should have died all together. At least I can see you again in heaven.
Heaven? What's that?
Does heaven exist for things like us?
I mean, first question is, does heaven exist at all? Syntia pressed her lips together. Also an old reflex from the past human body.
I hope so.
I know. I feel like I have no expectations what's afterlife. So, you know, even if there is something, I will maybe not appear with complete disappointment. If that makes sense. Anyway. Silence stretched between them. Only the rain spoke now. Syntia shut her optics, letting the wave of centuries press against her memory core. It had always been so easy before. A broken limb, replace it. A corrupted file, retrieve the backup. things could be fixed, restored, made whole again. I mean, you're not wrong. But not anymore. Now, his score was failing. Too far gone. Emotions couldn't be rewritten. Love wasn't something that could be transferred like data. She could recover his memories, but it wouldn't bring him back. All that would remain was an echo. A shell. A name without a soul.
If I back you up now,
Her voice was shaking now.
you won't be you anymore.
Nexor studied her, softening his glaze.
And if I'm not me, would you still love me, Synthia?
Wow, what a situation. Usually it's the woman who would ask such a question, right? Yeah, the meme. Okay, the meme. It's the meme. Cynthia's grip tightened. But she had no answer. The memory pulled her under, like a tide she had stopped resisting long ago. She closed her optics, and in darkness of her mind, a hospital room took shape. It was cold and far and unreal. The walls were white, but to them everything had turned grey. Syntia sat at the edge of the hospital bed, arms wrapped around a small, unmoving figure. Motionless. Nexor stood beside her, fingers trembling. He reached out instinctively, then hesitated, unsure what to do with his hands. Nexor's hands were those of an engineer, hands meant to build, to fix. Those hands had never failed him before. But this wasn't something he could fix.
She stopped breathing.
Her daughter couldn't be repaired.
The doctor said she was never breathing to begin with.
Ow. Cynthia's voice barely carried through the room, as if speaking too loudly might shatter what little remained of her world. She cradled the tiny body closer, willing warmth into skin that would never hold it. Hoping somewhere deep inside that if she held on tightly enough something might change. But the body in her arms remained cold. The life support machines have been turned off. Only silence stayed.
There had to be something we could have done.
Nexor had searched every possibility. CPR, neural stimulation, defibrillators. But their daughter wasn't a machine that could be restarted, or a corrupted file that could be restored from a backup. She was only human. Mortal.
We know how to fix things, love.
She clutched the child closer. But some things were never meant to be fixed.
But not life.
And what was the point of all of it?
What are you screaming on about her, man? His voice raised, cracking against the wave in his chest. And then he realized. He had almost shouted at her. I mean, technically he did, but... And Syntia had just lost as much, maybe even more. Nexor exhaled sharply, pressing his lips together as he turned away. Syntia said nothing, she only held her daughter a little tighter, trying to memorize the shape of her tiny face. As if that could keep her from fading. But they both knew. This body was a cage. Flesh was fragile. No matter how desperately they wanted to, they couldn't bring her back. But they could keep moving. They could run from this unbearable truth. Their gazes met, then drifted toward the window. Outside, through the curtain of rain, one of the thousands of billboards flickered. Upload your consciousness, transcend humanity, live forever with QUINCENTRA! Dude. If anything, after such an experience, I imagine I would want to do that even less. And I already would not want to do that at all. Yeah. They had seen the words before countless times. But tonight they meant more.
We don't have to lose each other.
You mean...
QUINCENTRA.
But why would you want that? The words left her lips before she could think. The idea had been there, lingering, ever since QUINCENTRA became a possibility. She knew this was the worst moment to bring it up. Yeah. But...
Let's keep living. So that we can carry her memories forever.
If they weren't gods, they couldn't bring back the Ed. Their daughter was gone. But one thing was still within their grasp. They could choose to survive to keep existing in a world beyond this one. A world where nothing would break and nothing would ever be lost again. A world where they could remain even if they were no longer human.
Yeah. Alright.
He nodded even though it felt uncertain at the time. His fingers brushed against his cheek, wiping away his tears. The last tears he would ever shed. The rain blurred another projection in Cynthia's RAM, memory caught in an endless loop. Centuries ago, neon lights had swallowed the sky, outshining the stars that had long since faded. Yeah, so much city pollution.
How about we leave a mark? Something to say we were here.
Pretty sure that's illegal?
Who cares?
Who the hell cares anymore?
Yeah. Clearly, a lot of people don't care. He carved their initials into the cold metal railing. Letters that by now were probably buried beneath the rust. Wait, was it a star? There's a star here as well. Anyway, back then they were still learning how to move around in their new bodies. Their movements were awkward, but they danced anyway.
Damn, I'm terrible at this.
You'll get better. We have all the time in the world.
Then, my lady, may I have this dance?
Always.
Another memory surfaced in Cynthia's RAM. A quiet garage, long abandoned. She did remember the smell of burned circuits, but she had lost her sense of smell long ago. She remembered their steady hands fixing each other like clockwork.
Ouch.
Just hold on, will you? You're lucky this knee still functions at all.
So for them, the knees also give up.
Look who's talking.
Yeah? I think this scar looks good on me. Selling it on the rugged, handsome guy thing.
Cynthia's fingers traced the cracks on his polymer plating. If he had still been human, they would have been scars, wounds that should have healed but never did.
I can't believe you can still joke at times like this. It's like you don't even care your own body is disintegrating.
I mean, I can always remake it.
Can you?
Until when?
Forever. If you'd let me.
You idiot.
Their world, once overflowing with life, had started to fade. The sky that had once been blue was now consumed by darkness. Oxygen, once abundant, had run dry. Humanity disappeared one by one, replaced by android bodies. Some couldn't bear eternity, others lost themselves within it. Nexor and Syntia stood together hand in hand, watching as the world faded into history. And out of that, only one of them remained. The memories in Cynthia's mind flickered, then faded. The projections that had played for centuries froze mid-loop, replaced by something that crushed her chest inwards. Nexor's face.
Just... I think... we're running out of time.
Syntia collapsed to her knees, clutching Nexor's hand as if it was her last tether to existence.
No! Not yet! Damn it, not yet!
His optical senses flickered, fighting to stay alight. Even his body was resisting this end. He tried to draw power from his backup battery, but nothing. There was nothing left.
Synthia.
His fingers trembled in hers, barely holding on before his motor functions failed.
There's... nothing... left to fix.
No! No! No!
Syntia shook her head violently as if sheer willpower could rewrite reality. This wasn't happening. He wasn't beyond repair. He couldn't be. Could he? Her processor was built to calculate probabilities to create solutions, but none of this made sense.
There's still a way. There has to be.
She couldn't lose him. Not after everything. Syntia forced her systems to run at max capacity, processing every solution, every desperate chance. What if she transferred his consciousness? No. Too much data was already lost. What if she copied his memories? But... his motions wouldn't transfer. How about she rebuilt his neural core? That wouldn't be him. And if she patched his system manually? No. The damage was too widespread.
If you rebuild me, it won't be me.
Desperation glowed her, ripping through every fiber of her being. Was this what it felt like? To lose something irreplaceable? To know that after 500 years, love could still be taken from her. His fingers shook, one last movement before going still.
I don't care!
Let me go. Where?
His voice fractured, breaking apart as fragments slipping through her grasp. No. She could replace him. Copy his memories, replicate his thought patterns, rebuild his speech. But it wouldn't be him. Not the man who carved her initials into rusting railing. Not the man who danced with her in the rain and held her through a love that defied time itself.
Our daughter. Yes.
Not the man who had grieved beside her for a child they could never save. She wanted to break down the universe and build it back together in a way that kept him there. But she couldn't. This was the end. This time it was real.
Love, please.
The last flicker of light in Nexor's optic sensors slowly dimmed.
Now.
His trembling fingers barely lifted, trying to touch his chest. Right where his heart should have been once.
Live.
His words cut off. A burst of static erupted from his voice module. His body jerked one last time before stilling completely. Nexor is gone. Forever. Rain kept falling, but it felt distant. Her processor was still running, still searching for solutions for alternate paths. Something, anything. But none of it mattered anymore. For the first time in 500 years, Syntia had run out of answers.
No. This isn't real.
The rain pounded against the emptiness, hollowing her out, sinking deeper and deeper into the spaces where a human mind used to be. Syntia tried to swallow, but there was no throat to tighten, no nerves to ends to shudder under grief. She could not feel the cold, nor the rain against her synthetic body. And yet the pain was unbearable. It should not exist. But it did. Syntia was shattering into pieces she could never put back together.
I can fix you.
She has to. She has to. She had done it before. She had repaired him before. Once Nexor's leg had been destroyed. He had laughed when she reattached it the wrong way, then kissed her under the same rain. But this was different. It feels final. Syntia clutched her chest, pressing her forehead against his chest. Cold metal against cold metal. It was all she could feel. She wished her body could still age, could still hurt the way it was supposed to. But there was nothing left to register pain. Nothing. Except the unbearable wave in her core.
Nexor. What do I do?
Silence. What's left was just her own voice, breaking apart in the void.
Live for you. For our child.
Yes, she could. She could keep them alive inside her mind, hold on to every word, every laugh, every touch. And I played them over and over and over, stuck in an infinite loop.
But how? How do I do this alone?
Her stomach twisted, and that's impossible. But it felt like so, anyway. This was pain without a body to bear it, grief without release. What was the point of surviving if there was no one left? And then a thought. A simple solution. Quick! She could end the pain. Syntia looked down her chest, where all her memories were stored. Where he was still alive. When every night they spent side by side, whispering about the future they thought would never end. Her fingers moved slowly to the small palm on her chest. Just one command. System shut down. A final directive. A few seconds. That was all it would take. And the bomb of a pain will be gone. Her fingers hovered closer. But before she could press the button, there is a voice echoing from the last place he still existed. Now, live for us. His final request. One last wish from the man she loved. A man who didn't have a choice but gave her the chance to make one. She looked at her own hands. Fingers that had touched life. That had repaired, created, protected. That had almost pressed that button. But
How do I face this world alone?
what will it be? Keep living. Syntia collapsed to her knee. I hope I clicked.
How do I face this?
Just in case. We're not rebuilding, not an option, man. The rain kept falling, the world kept turning. But Syntia didn't. If she left now, who would remember the times she danced with Nexor, pretending they were human? Who would remember the water they never got to hold long enough? who would keep them alive, keep them from being erased from someone's memories. If she gave up, then they would truly disappear. Not just from this world, but from everything. Not a single soul would remember they ever existed. Syntia felt a deep, twisting cold spreading through her circuits. It shouldn't be possible. Her sensors had long since degraded. But it was there. Or maybe it had been there all along. Because she was still here. With all of these feelings she shouldn't be able to feel. And she would not betray Nexor's final wish. She would not let him disappear. She reached for his hand one last time, metal against metal, gripping tight, before she let go. Then agonizingly she stood. Her body felt like something unseen had reached into her chest and pulled out everything that had ever mattered. Something inside her screamed not to leave his body alone in the rain, as if staying would bring him back. But it wouldn't. This was not a dream. There was nothing resetting this moment. Syntia looked at Nexor's body one last time. The man who had walked beside her for 5 centuries and more, who once laughed, who once promised he would never leave. But in the end, he had left anyway. She would say something? A final goodbye, maybe. Or a promise that she would keep going. But words didn't matter anymore. Because he would never hear them. So Syntia turned away. The first step felt like betrayal. The second step felt like chains wrapping around her, trying to drag her back. The third step felt like losing him all over again. But she kept walking, not looking back, not even a single glance. Because if she did, she wasn't sure she would have the strength to keep going. Syntia was still alive. Somehow. The world still spun, even though everything inside her felt like it had stopped. There was still time. An eternity of it.
501 years. And counting.
Maybe one day this endless existence would mean something again. And she would learn how to move forward without feeling like she was leaving him behind. But not today. Not the day after. Still, Syntia kept walking. Time passed, the rain kept falling as it always had. Syntia walked the same streets, but her steps no longer dragged. Beside her, a small android dog trotted with a carefree energy. She stopped. The place was the same. But the moment was different. There, where Nexor had once been, stood a single metal flower. Alone. Untouched by time. Enduring. Syntia knelt, brushing her fingertips over its cool surface. It felt like touching something that had once been alive. But still lived inside of her.
Nexor. I'm still here.
Her voice didn't waver. I mean, it did waver a little bit. The sorrow was still there, the age never fully gone. But something else had taken root alongside it. Gratitude of the years they have spent together. Syntia reached into the depths of their memory, replaying every step that had led her here. The nights she spent whispering to Nexor in the silence, hoping that maybe something would answer. The days where the world stretched endlessly before her and felt empty without the hand that had once held hers. But there were also moments that had slowly, quietly begun to fill the hollow spaces in her heart. Neon-lit skies that shimmered in the artificial constellations. Strangers who crossed her path, sharing fleeting stories and laughter even if just for a moment. Journeys that led her to places she had never seen before. And the lights, and the things she once thought meaningless. but now realized were priceless, simply because she was still here to experience them. She was still here. And that was Nexor's final gift. The rain continued to fall as it always had, but this time it felt different. She still felt alive. Syntia closed her optics for a moment, and when she opened them again, she smiled.
Thank you, love, for everything.
She no longer expected an answer, but deep down she knew if Nexor were here, he would be smiling too. Her android dog Rex wagged his tail excitedly before leaping into a puddle, water splashing against his synthetic fur. Syntia cackled, a sound she hadn't heard from herself in so long. How long had been since she laughed like this? She tried to remember, and for the first time in centuries, the thought of counting no longer mattered. Because even though the pain would never fully fade, even though the past would always linger in the quiet corners of her mind, the life ahead was beautiful, and she wanted to embrace it again. Syntia turned to face the road ahead. For the first time, it didn't feel so empty. She didn't know how many more years stretched before her. But for the first time in 502 years, she wanted to find out. The first step felt lighter. The second step felt steady. And for the first time in 502 years, Syntia was looking ahead, wondering where her next steps would take her. QUINCENTRA. Remastered. I actually don't remember, but I like, because I might have gotten this ending as well previously, and probably for the same reason. Because basically rebuilding him would not lead to, you know, that being him. At least from what we were told here. And yeah, I'm gonna stick to that. I'm gonna stick to that. But yeah, all in all, dude, living forever sounds like a pain. Yeah, I would definitely not sign up for this. If there is afterlife, dude, I hope it's going to be better, because if it's like the world we are in, oof. And if it's worse, dude, like, how can it be worse? And you, like, also, you know what, in this whole situation, I'm surprised that after you basically lose a child, you're like, let's live forever. Like, no matter the situation, I feel like something like that would not even cross my mind with such an experience. You bet, in such a situation, at least I believe so, my mind would go the other way around. I think it will be like that. I would still not do anything like that, but yeah, I would not live. I would not think, yeah, let's become possibly forever living android. Also, you know what? Why I wouldn't want to do that? Like, I feel like with that, basically, like, dude, like, let's put on the tin hat the foil hat right now. I feel like at any point of time, like government or whatever the company that creates the bodies could take control of that body, basically. I said put on a foil hat or whatever, but come on. You know what you know what the governments are doing right now, like, or all the companies really. They want total control, that's for sure. And that's sad. That is sad. Anyway, foil hat of the head. The game is as enjoyable as it was a year ago, I would say. I had a great time back then. And today as well. I enjoyed this story a lot. Definitely makes you think. Definitely makes you think. Anywho, QUINCENTRA, of course. The remaster, just like the original, is on itch.io. And you can find the link in the description. And you can get it for free. So go do that. And you can also, of course, while you're on it, check other games from Azure Twilight, because there has been quite a few. What did I play on this channel? Intensive Scare Unit, yeah, that was freakishly good. I loved that game. I kinda wish also, like, the Intensive Scare Unit had even more to it. Even more, more game, even for that was already fantastic. I also played... Oh, Onigashima, that's right. That's what I played on the channel. It was also crazy good. But yeah, the remaster of QUINCENTRA. Great jumping. Dude, I love games when they have voice acting. They make things so much easier for recording. But with all of that being said, let's end the video. And tomorrow I'll bring you another game, I guess. For now, as always, consider liking the video if you enjoyed. And if you're new around, consider subscribing, and, you know, there will be more games. There are already a lot of games on this channel, but there will be more. Alright, let's cut it for today. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.